This is the EVP Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to another fantastic episode of the EVP Podcast. We are Energy, Visions, and the Paranormal. In case you didn't know, we actually do investigations.
Yes.
You wouldn't know it by listening to our show because we don't talk about the investigations we want because we haven't been on any.
Not for a while.
But before we get into that, I'm Beaker.
I'm DVO.
I'm Ghosty McGhostface.
That he is.
So yeah, it's been a minute. We do have a Benson Grist Mill investigation coming up next month.
Yeah, a few more weeks, yeah.
For my annual, and it's now officially the EVP's annual paranormal potluck.
Nice.
If you're not invited, I'm sorry. This is one where I tend to, I think when we start doing, if we start doing public investigations,
Yeah.
it's gonna kind of be like invite only to people we know that have like their own gear, and more or less we don't want to have to babysit people. But if you are interested in like renting out a venue and want a team to come help you out, hit us up, evp.pod@gmail.com,
Yes.
or on the social medias with the same evp.pod.
On this wild thing called the internet.
Yes. But more importantly, if you're having issues at your house and you want us to come check it out.
I just got word from a friend who has a coworker having issues with like cupboards getting slammed at their home.
Oh.
So he's gonna talk to his coworker for us and see if we'll have a little thing to talk about here soon about that.
Interesting.
That's
Poltergeisty.
In the past, that's where I've gotten a lot of like referrals. It's been like people we know or coworkers that have like friends that are having issues.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you've got you got problems, you want us to come check it out?
Yo,
let us know.
we'll
Hit us up.
solve them.
Thank you, Mr. Ice. I think one of our problems is we're so new because we've only been around since February.
As this team. Yeah.
As this team,
Yeah,
yeah.
this new
is
team.
new.
We've all been investigating together for like 6 years.
So we need to
5
create
years.
a name, or we gotta get our name out there more as an investigative team.
Yes.
So I have a question for you guys. If we can
No, I will
do
not
this.
make out with you
Why?
because your brother's here.
I'll step out and just let the video keep recording.
You can take the iPad with you.
Yeah,
You
I'll
can
just take
watch it.
this with me.
Watch.
You watch from the iPad. You can actually edit while you're doing it. You can be like
I'll follow
zooming
you
in.
guys.
You can zoom in on certain areas.
So last week on our episode of the Bermuda Triangle and the Bruce Gurnon and the potential of time travel, one thing I thought later what we should talk about is if there was a time machine, where would you want to go? If you could jump in a time machine.
Live Aid 1982.
Live Aid, is that what you said?
Yes.
Who performed at that?
Queen.
I was gonna say that was
like
the Queen one.
Yeah,
in
that was the
movie?
Queen one. I think it was
Okay.
1980. I'm not sure the exact year on that.
So you want to go to the concert?
But I would love to have been at Live Aid.
for the whole thing, or just towards the end when Queen went?
Oh, just Queen.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure there's other good bands though, but Queen has been like my favorite band for like
Are they
the
your
longest
favorite
time.
band?
They are.
Interesting.
They are the greatest band of all time.
So what do you think about the movie?
I liked it, but
What was it called? Queen? I can't
It was
remember.
called Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Now it's funny because at about the same time Rocket Man came out,
Yes.
and although I did like Bohemian Rhapsody, I kind of liked Rocket Man better.
Okay.
I like the whole. It wasn't just kind of like a documentary type movie.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Bohemian Rhapsody was really a documentary, but I liked that they made Rocket Man. It was based on Elton John.
Yeah.
It was a musical, so they actually had the characters in the movie like singing the songs instead of just talking about the band. I really liked how they did Rocket Man, but Queen has been one of my favorite bands for the longest time.
I did not watch Rocket Man, but I did like Bohemian Rhapsody. I thought that was a really good movie.
I think you like Queen or the Rocket Man.
Okay. Because I do like
If you like
Elton John.
musicals,
I don't mind musicals.
yeah, no,
don't mind
Rocket
that.
Man was, in my opinion, I think it was a better done movie.
Okay.
Good
So
to
you'd
know.
like to go to Live Aid.
I would
What year
probably,
do you think that was again?
I want to say 82, 83,
Okay,
which is like
early 80s.
the year I was born, somewhere in
Yeah.
there. That's one of the places I'd go.
So you were alive at the time. You should have went then. I don't see
Yeah,
why you
I'm-
didn't go then.
my bad.
You had your chance.
I
Yeah.
was like a year old.
Jeez, man.
I was slacking.
Yeah, plenty
That's
of
like
time.
the first thing that comes to mind is Live Aid.
Live Aid?
That concert, seeing Queen. I've always wanted to see Queen live, not like the new Queen, because Queen's still around. They just have a new singer.
Okay.
I would love to see like Freddie Mercury sing live, perform live. That's one of the places I'd go.
He's got some pipes on, or he had some pipes on him.
Yes. Where would you go?
So I was kind of mentioning this. I would have liked to went to the medieval times, like where there's jousting and knights and all that. I would have loved. From what I've seen in the movies, it looks like a great time. So I would have loved to kind of experience that whole thing, and then also a couple time periods, the 20s with the mobsters. I kind of like. I don't know why that lifestyle kind of appeals to me, the mobster lifestyle, dressing up in suits.
Dillinger.
Yeah, carrying around a Tommy gun. That
I figured out what I wanted.
And then one more time, one more period, the 50s. I would have liked to have been in Hawaii in the 50s, around the time when it was, Elvis and the Beach Boys and just kind of that lifestyle. That kind of would have been a fun time too, I think.
So medieval times and then times that were not that far away, long ago.
No.
The Revolutionary War, and I would go fact-checking everything we've ever learned.
Okay.
You know what? Now that you mention that, the shot heard around the world. I would want to be there for that.
The JFK?
yeah?
No, the Revolutionary War. You know the shot heard.
No.
So there was the them and them.
Okay.
The two armies, or the British and the Americans.
Uh-huh.
There was a whole, don't fire till you see the whites of their eyes. And I guess like no one was supposed to fire, but there was a shot that went off, and they don't know what side, where the shot came from.
That just kind of triggered
and that kind of
everybody?
triggered that particular battle.
It was like a young kid.
It was probably a dog barking.
Or someone didn't know how to work their gun. They dropped in and went off. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, so stuff like that, like figuring out the shot heard around the world. Maybe JFK, Jimmy Hoffa, stuff like that. But like for when you mentioned like medieval times, I am kind of fascinated with that, but in one of my past lives, I was actually a blacksmith in medieval times, so I've sort of,
You don't remember it, though.
You
weren't there in this life.
In this life, no. But
don't act like you were there recently.
I actually did some, it's called QHHT, Quantum Hypnosis Healing Technique.
Interesting.
And this lady that I did it with, her name's Kathy the Feet. And she's amazing at what she does.
Kathy the Feet?
Kathy Lafitte.
Oh, okay. Is that her mobster name? It's Kathy the Feet, see?
Kathy the Feet, see?
Chop off your feet,
Kathy the Feet Lebowski.
Chop off your feet, see?
Yeah.
Lafitte. So,
okay, sorry. I'm sorry, Kathy.
I think it was Divine Healing is what her company name was. She might have changed it. But if you're interested in that, just let me know and I'll throw up the contact info. But she helps you with like past life regression. And the one that came through when I was under this hypnosis is I talked a lot about what it was like when I was a blacksmith. So
interesting.
I don't remember it other than like my subconscious self telling me about it. Other than that, but I kind of remember, I remember what I said during the hypnosis session.
Yeah. Do you remember... Or did you mention what you did?
I was a blacksmith.
But what did you make?
So I made
your horseshoes and that's something cool.
No, I made the shields, the swords, and the armor for the knights.
Yeah.
So I was actually employed by one of the lords. Mm-hmm. Which the funny thing is the daughter of the lord was actually Brandy in a past life, and I don't have the little button ding.
I bought it.
I think I have the app on my phone still.
Okay, so I just bought a little bell that we can ring every time we mention Brandy or Peaches. Same person, by the way. Brandy and Peaches are the same person.
I got my app.
There we go. I bought it. I'm going to bring it next week. I'm sorry I forgot it.
Turn it up a little bit louder.
It just arrived from Amazon yesterday.
Wow, that's loud.
That was good. That was a good time right there.
So yeah, I've got it up now, so we can just reach up there and hit it anytime we.
I just got it from Amazon yesterday. I'll bring it next week. The bell. But
yeah, she was totally like. So this isn't the first life I've experienced with Brandy. She was the lord I worked for. His daughter.
Okay.
But I made the armor and stuff for his knights.
Nice.
And it was funny because when we was doing this hypnosis session and. She asked me if that's what I actually enjoyed making. I said, no, I just did that for money. What I enjoyed making was the axes and double bladed axes and stuff like that. And which I think is funny because even before I did this hypnosis thing, that's always been my go-to weapon. I like using in video games and stuff like that. has been like that double-bladed axes.
Interesting.
So then hearing that in the hypnosis session was kind of cool.
That is kind of cool. That's pretty interesting.
Any other places you would want to visit?
Probably the Shire.
Yes.
What year was that?
It was the year of our Lord of...
Did we just go to the Hobbit here?
That's what I would do if I'd been in those medieval times. The stories I tell. I'd be like, in the year of our Lord, 1999, it was the year of Y2K. And planes were going to fly. Oh, you don't know what a plane is? Let me tell you what a plane is.
Stonehenge. I would love to
watching it
see.
being built?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one. That would be a good one.
Easter Island, like those, like.
Yeah.
I mean, there was another one I saw.
Or pyramids.
Pyramids.
Yeah.
Figuring out some of these ancient mysteries.
Yes.
That'd be cool.
It would be.
And then not tell anybody about it.
I would tell everybody. It was aliens.
It was
It was totally aliens.
Well, that guy with the hair. I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens. The dude from Ancient Aliens.
I don't know his name.
I don't know his name. The guy with the hair.
Yeah.
I just said that.
That's his name. The guy with the hair aliens.
Yeah.
The
Hair guy.
aliens guy.
The hair alien guy.
Yeah. Everyone knows exactly what you mean too.
I think
doesn't need a name.
if you watch like this different seasons throughout the seasons, like his hair gets bigger and like crazier.
It does. It does.
You guys don't know the guy. He's the meme guy.
He's the meme guy. Yep. That's how I know, just from the memes.
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought it'd be kind of a fun little off topic from that episode of. I wish we would have talked about it last week, but that's okay. We'll talk about it now.
For those of you listening, hit us up. Tell us where you would want to go if time travel is a
Yes.
thing.
And why?
Why? What?
Yeah. Why
Yes,
would you
why?
go there? Huh? Tell us.
We didn't tell you why we want to go, but tell us why.
Yeah, you
wanna
better.
go
You
there.
better tell us.
Or else, man, see?
Yeah.
All right, Bigger, tell us about our episode this week.
Oh, that wasn't it? We're just not bullshitting.
Oh, we're done? No, we're done.
We're done. Thanks for listening. So at the end of the last episode, it might have been after we stopped recording, you mentioned something about spirit guides and
Yes.
how you're not sure you actually have some. And at
Right.
the same time, Ghosty and myself were like, oh, you do. Everybody has spirit guides, in my opinion. So we decided this week we'll talk about spirit guides. And I'm just going to put this out there right now. This is kind of what the things I'm going to talk about is kind of what I believe and what I've experienced.
Okay.
Doesn't mean this is like the definitive end all be all of spirit guides. I watched so many videos and there's so many different like beliefs when it comes to spirit guides. So I'm going to focus more on what I've experienced and what you guys have experienced.
Okay.
I like
So
it.
just to kind of put that out there, there's like, I don't want people to sit there and think that like, this is how it is and no other way. This
Yeah.
is just our personal experiences with spirit guides. So in my opinion,
And just real quick, every episode is just based on our opinions and information that we've gathered
Which are all facts.
because the internet said so.
yes,
Because we said so.
YouTube doesn't lie to me.
So continue, Beaker.
Yes. So again, to answer your question, you do have spirit guides. In my
Okay.
opinion, yes. Everybody has spirit guides, and what a spirit guide is basically, and I like this description that I saw in the
Spies.
video is, there's spies. There's the white one, and then there's the black one, and they constantly try to kill each other. You can find them in Mad TV or Mad Magazine, Spy versus Spy. Basically, I like this description some of it, but they're non-physical beings that are here on Earth to help us. Whether or not they are, there's so many different kinds that people mention. There's like the ancestral spirit guides, which are going to be guides that come from somewhere in your family tree. Oh, my app closed. Hold on, I gotta. Brandy's spirit guide. Is her grandma that passed away, I believe, in like the 20s.
Okay.
One of my spirit guides is, I'm not sure how I'm related to her, but I do know through talking to a couple different mediums and through meditation that my main spirit guide is one of my ancestors.
Okay.
So I believe, this is, like I said, my belief, that at least one of everybody's spirit guides is related to them somehow.
Okay.
Some of the videos also talked about like different like deities as spirit guides. Like Muhammad and like Jesus and like Mary Magdalene and stuff like that. I don't know if I would really refer to those as spirit guides, but everyone has different beliefs.
Okay.
One lady started talking about, angels and guardian angels,
Right.
which I would believe, in my opinion.
Are those? Do you think those are the same as spirit guides?
Yes, I think they can be. I think you can have spirit guides, what I would consider to be angelic.
Okay.
So in my belief, when there's basically, to make it really simple, there's two types of spirits. There's earthbound spirits,
Okay.
and then there's angelic spirits. And those are just basically spirits that have crossed over. So you can have like ancestral spirit guide that is also an angelic spirit guide. It just means that they've crossed over. They've moved on to the next plane.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So not all of your spirit guides necessarily have to be like angelic or angels or guardian angels. This lady also talked about like violet flame angels. No idea what the hell that is, so I'm not really going to jump into that.
Violent flame angel.
Violet.
Okay.
That
Violet.
sounds like a coral reef fish.
She talked about the archangels, which I don't know if I'd call those spirit guides either, because in my opinion, spirit guides is someone that's with you
From birth.
Your main spirit guide will be with you from birth. You'll have other spirit guides that come and go, and help you out that are kind of meant for you, and I think they help other people. But I think archangels are a little bit different in my book. I don't think that they're just, because basically anyone can invoke the power of an archangel or call forth an archangel for help, and that archangel is going to go help that individual at that time. But I don't know if I would really consider archangel spirit guides.
I wouldn't.
Do you think that guide from birth is maybe the one that's more related to you?
Yeah, so like
Not necessarily.
it could be different for everybody, but like I said, in my situation, my main spirit guide, she's been with me since birth, and she's an ancestral spirit guide. Same with Brandy's spirit guide. She's been with Brandy since birth.
Okay.
And she is, like I said, Brandy's grandma.
Got it.
So I my belief though is that your main spirit guide that's with you from birth is predetermined. It's like you picked them out
Okay.
before you were born. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So it could have been like a close friend, or family member in a past life, or just while you're in the spiritual plane.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I've got something profound to say. Yes.
Well, I was thinking, okay, my experience and from anyways, what it seems like to me is that your spirit guides, you have, a set amount already throughout your entire life. And then you have more that kind of come in and out, but you have the same ones pretty much forever. But beyond those ones that you always have, in my case anyways, there's more that kind of step in to help, jump in and out.
Okay.
But I always have the same 5.
So I want to. Did you guys ever watch this movie? I can think of this movie from 1993 with Robert Downey Jr. Heart and Souls.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
It's so
No,
good.
but it's got
A lot of good actors.
Red from. Well,
Here, look at the cast there. I got IMDb up. Check it out.
I haven't
Great
seen
cast.
this since the 90s.
It's such a good movie.
Charles
okay?
Gordon.
So what this is a bus crashes.
Oh, Elizabeth Shue's in it.
Yeah, the cast is amazing. The whole movie's amazing. This was a great era of movie times right here too, early 90s. But anyway, a whole bus crashes and all the passengers die, I believe. And they have unfinished business. And they attach to Robert Downey Jr.'s as a baby, to his character even as a baby, and they're with him for most of his life up to his adult years, and they kind of come back into the picture because they're trying to communicate with him to help them close chapters of their life, right? But they're basically spirit guides that like guide him while he's a baby and in his early years, and then he kind of turns it off as a teenager. I can't remember exactly, but that's kind of what I'm thinking as you guys are kind of talking like this. I'm thinking of that movie. This is definitely a plug to watch this movie. It's such a good movie. that's kind of what I'm thinking about. And then I also think about
The name of that movie again was
Heart and Souls.
Heart and Soul.
Heart and Souls. And so what I'm also thinking about is when you say this, like they're with you, like I'm thinking, so they're watching me change? Are they watching me sleep? Are they watching me diddle daddle?
Yes. No, it's like
Yes
any
to all
spirit.
of
Like
that.
when you're yes to all of it.
Okay.
You feel that little tingling in your bum. That's them.
No,
No,
it's like just a wild hair
it's
in
like,
my ass.
It's like any other spirit. It's like any other spirit on like that's haunting people's homes. Like, I mean, they're people.
Okay.
So
yeah.
they're gonna understand and respect your privacy.
You hope.
You'd hope. It's such a weird question.
Hopefully Chester.
That's actually not a weird question. We've gotten that question quite a bit.
That's
on
what I think of,
investigations.
though, right? I have my 8 brain and thinking, what's it doing? What's it watching me for?
They're not with you all the time. Like my main spirit guide,
Okay.
I can tell when she's around, and there's quite a bit where she's not around.
So they're not around 24/7.
No, not
Okay.
mine.
Well, maybe not. Okay. All
Mine aren't. And I would believe it's the same for everybody.
right. Okay.
Because I know my app's closed. Ding, Brandy, her grandma, sometimes like when her husband's over the road for work, she's with him.
Oh. Well,
But
okay.
because like time and space doesn't exist for spirits, it's easy for her to pop back in and
Okay.
go between the two of them.
Got it. Okay.
So I do believe everyone has at least one when they're born. Like you said, I have 5 as well, and I know
And those when you say that you have 5 that are your main spirit guides.
yes
But some come in
that
and
I'm
out
aware
still.
of.
Okay.
There might be
Yeah.
others that come in and out, and the funny thing is 3 of those 5 I've only had for about 3 or 4 years.
Oh.
3 of those 5 actually came with crystals that I bought.
Interesting.
Rose, my main spirit guide, has been with me since birth. The 5th spirit guide, I do not know who they are or anything about them. I just know they're there. One of the main reasons is I had a reading done with someone named Audra at Synchronicities.
Okay.
And she draws pictures while she's doing readings. And she actually drew 5 beings or 5 things like holding me up and helping me out.
Okay.
And between the two of us, we were able to determine that those 5 were my spirit guides.
Interesting.
And she said the same thing. There's like one that's there, but they more observe. They don't
Okay.
really get involved. Like other spirit guides, they'll get involved, and when they need to. And spirit guides, they're going to go by like different things, like I said, and it all kind of depends on people's belief systems. For example, if you're LDS, you might have heard of, or some of these Christian religions, they have the Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
That's a spirit guide.
Right. Okay.
Essentially. And I think that the Holy Ghost that people feel, in my opinion, is their main spirit guide.
Okay.
That's my opinion. So
I also think of when you say things like that, like I think of like Looney Tune cartoons, and you got like the devil on one shoulder, right, and the angel on the other shoulder. One's telling you one thing, the other's telling you to do the opposite, and like the spirit guide is like the angel one, like no, don't.
Well, yeah, they all
much.
want the best for you.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, they're there to help direct you in life and help you down the path that you're supposed to be on.
But are there also negative ones that are trying to?
Not
I would say
spirit
I say there's
guides.
negative
Okay.
influences, but not guides.
Okay. That's a good. That's a good one.
So there
Okay.
could be like negative spirits or negative entities or negative.
That maybe are trying to entice you to do.
But they wouldn't
bad
be
things.
spirit
but they wouldn't
guides.
be guides.
Okay.
Because they're not. I mean, technically they are trying to guide you down a different path.
Okay.
But I wouldn't classify them as actual spirit guides because the main role of a spirit guide is to help you find your path,
Okay. All right.
what you're supposed to be doing in life.
When you were talking about like feeling your main spirit guide, the craziest thing happened to me when the first time I found out what my main spirit guide was doing when I would like feel it. So when I was doing some of the shaman stuff during those classes I was doing like divinity work, just like as homework.
What's that?
So I was doing things with the pendulum, and
Okay.
I had these shaman cards. What are they called? What kind of cards are those again?
Tarot
cards?
Not tarot cards. The
Oracle?
Oracle cards. Yes.
Okay.
And one of the things I was doing was when I was doing the pendulum, I was trying to do it over a bowl of water and to try to plant my arm down to not create any type of movement. And because I'm not a big fan of the pendulum.
Okay.
And
which is funny because I'm like the opposite. Like that's where I get some of my best responses. Have you seen me use the pendulum on investigations?
well, so this was one thing I'm not a fan of, just because I feel like the body not trying to, but does manipulate it. So I was trying everything I could to not manipulate it in any way. And I'd ask a question with my eyes closed, and I'd open it, and I'd see it bounce, and then it would start moving. Thought it was weird. And then I kind of felt this weird sensation over my shoulders.
But real quick, what this thing that you're doing with the pen? What are you trying to do? Like, I don't get
Ask questions and have it answer by swinging in certain directions.
Okay.
Yes and no. And
I actually have a little mat that I bought that has like yes and no on it. It also has like maybe, try again. It's got
And the pendulum, like, kind of just, it starts leaning? Is it turning?
It'll just start swinging.
Okay.
And so I was actually using my pendulum the other day with this mat for the first time. And I asked it to, show me yes. And it was swinging back and forth between the two yeses.
Okay.
And then I had it go to, I tell it to go center. And then I asked it to do no, and it started swinging between the two no's.
Okay.
And then I started asking questions. I was getting pretty good yes or no responses. I was trying to figure out which of my spirit guides I was actually talking to.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, is it this guide? And it actually, what I thought was interesting was, because on one corner it's got try again, the other corner it's got maybe, right?
Okay.
And it wasn't swinging like back and forth between the two. It would literally like swing to the try again and then back to the center square and then to try again. So it was like literally stopping in the center and then swinging back to try again.
Now, I know you're not a big fan of Ouija boards. What makes this different?
With the Ouija board, you're
opening up to anything.
Okay.
You're asking anything to come over.
Okay. And the pendulum is just for your spirit guides?
the pendulum.
Yes. It's like your energy and communicating with like your spirit guides to answer it for you.
Okay, that makes sense.
So the other thing with the Ouija board, you're holding the planchette, right?
Yeah.
And you're basically asking the spirits to move your hands, move your energy. Where I'm just holding the pendulum and asking them to swing the crystal on the pendulum.
Okay.
And like I've got one that I use that actually has selenite in it.
Okay.
Like it's got a little compartment that has selenite in it. That's the one I like to use when I'm on investigations because I know with the selenite, it's more likely that I'm going to get a positive spirit using my pendulum as opposed to a negative spirit.
That makes sense.
So on top of the pendulum thing, I was also doing the oracle cards. And one of the things, it was the first time ever using this. I had read into it and was ready to do it. And I kind of grabbed a card and I was thinking, oh shit, I didn't ask the question the way I wanted to. And I didn't do, there's things I wanted to do. Well, I was like, well, shit, I'm just going to read what this card is anyways. I'm going to put it back. I'm going to shuffle it all up again and do it again later. I kind of wrote what that was. It's a 64 card deck. So it's bigger than a normal deck of cards. Well, I put that in there. I shuffled everything around. I kind of came back to that maybe like 3 more times and shuffled it again. And then this time I was like, okay, I'm not even going to dig into the deck. I'm just going to slap it on the top and grab the top card and ask my question and use that. And these aren't like yes or no questions. These are like elaborate answers. Like
up for interpretation.
Like you ask a question where you need an actual answer.
Okay.
And well, anyways, I got the exact same card. I was like, no way. It freaked me out. I was like, what?
Out of 64 cards.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I felt that thing around my shoulders again. And it was just like...
Sorry, I cut you off. So you didn't really explain that the first time.
Well, I told you already this weird sensation about I felt this weird thing go over my shoulders, right? Well, then this time...
With the pendulum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, then this time after that happened, it was again, but it was like stronger. And it was like surrounding... Yeah, from behind.
Okay.
And it was like, something like grabs me from behind and hugs me. Anyways, I've already had an idea based on a few different readings on what my main spirit guide looks like. And I've always been told the same thing. Well, then this
Can you
time...
share that?
Well, yeah, I'll do that in a second. So this time, I'm talking to our other friend, Tennille, and she does a reading where she's actually going to talk with my spirit guides and have me actually like meet them and talk to them and, ask them questions and all that. anyways, she describes my main spirit guide again, which he's like really tall, really built. And the way she describes him is like he has almost like a Greek statue chiseled face and frame.
Oh, okay.
And he's really tall, and she's like, the way he is with you is he stands behind you, and he kind of puts his arms around you from behind and grabs you like, this is my dude. And the way she said that, though, she was like, yeah, and this had happened maybe like 3 days before I went and had her do this reading on me.
Uh-huh.
And so I was very familiar with that feeling. Like, it was brand new still.
So you didn't tell her any of this?
No, no. I didn't tell her anything.
You've had this experience. She basically confirms it by saying what she notices with your spirit guide.
Yes,
you're like,
by what he does is like,
Yeah.
she's like, no, he stands behind you, and he like grabs you from behind and like hugs you and like, yeah, this is my dude.
Okay.
See, that's one thing I like to do with readings.
Grab them.
Grab them.
Behind, never behind me. This is my dude. This is mine. No, like don't tell the reader.
Right.
Don't give them information because they will try to
Use that.
And then there are some people that can cold read and they'll just go off of your body language and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've had readings done where people have told me things about myself that I haven't told to anybody.
Okay.
And I don't like, if you're looking for a particular answer, don't feed information to the reader.
Yeah.
Like if they can read you, you don't need to feed them that information.
Got it.
So that feeling was really crazy just because I had felt that, but I didn't know what it was. I mean, I've had that sensation when on investigations, knowing that that's a spirit whenever I have that. But this was just, usually it's on one part of my body. It's like on one side of me.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, something walked up on me. This was just surrounding my whole body.
Right. Okay.
And so it was just a different sensation. It was just a lot. And it was like, what the hell? But then having her say that is how he like does things. And then it all just made sense.
Okay.
So that was a really cool way to kind of put that all together.
Interesting.
That is cool.
And that's the only one you know about?
No, I have 5. And out of those 5, my main one is somebody who I've lived multiple lives with. And in
that's not the Greek god.
that one.
Okay.
Yeah, and that one we've lived multiple lives together. And in this one, we chose to where I'm just going to be here. He's going to be my main spirit guide.
Oh, so you're probably just disappointing the shit out of him then?
Just left and right.
See, that's,
He's like, I stayed behind for this guy to do.
well, see, in the next incarnation,
Isn't that his failure?
in the next incarnation, Ghosty is going to be the one being the guide, and the other guy.
Okay.
So Ghosty's going to have to give some man love when he's a spirit guide.
All right.
And then out of those 5, there's one that is like an ancestral one.
Okay.
Who was a shaman in, however long ago that they lived. And that trait has just been getting passed on throughout generations. And other people in the family line has, from interacting with this, has had it but never done anything with it or tried to seek some type of spiritual guidance or anything like that.
Okay.
And so he's been a spirit guide for other family members too, but was just ecstatic when I chose to like interact and everything. That it was like, oh shit! So finally, somebody is picking up on it.
Okay. All right. Any other ones you know about?
Yeah, I talked to all of them.
You talked to all of them.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So when we had that reading, she was doing the medium work where she was interacting and letting me ask questions and then getting answered. The medium work.
I want to know, like, what about these conversations? Like, tell me more about your spirit guides. And
so I got to meet all of them. There's one who's kind of like a general who she's kind of keeps me in line and then is kind of like the boss, I guess.
You should fire her and get a new one. She's doing a terrible job.
You don't know nothing.
Okay.
This was also so long ago that I don't remember a lot of it because I didn't write anything down.
Okay.
There was another one who was like more of like a playful child.
Uh-huh.
And some of them had names and some didn't.
Okay.
What else was there? I can't remember if there's anything else. Yeah, but for the most part,
Okay.
got to ask some questions. She was answering for them because I haven't been able to communicate with them I haven't really been trying either, though. I haven't really been doing a lot of meditating either. But,
Okay.
but yeah, so I think you should do it. I think you should try to get that done. But it was pretty cool since you're.
I'll talk about that at the end. Okay.
But
Or at some point. I know Beaker wants to chime in on some of these
yeah,
things.
some of yours. Talk about some of yours.
So
Who's touching you at night?
Yeah, who touches you all the time?
that's none of your business. All right.
Okay.
I'll tell you later.
It's me. Everyone knows.
Yeah, well, that's why you're always asking me to spend the night when your wife's out of town.
Yes.
So I have 2 that I talk to.
Okay.
The other
Like
3
frequently when you say that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I keep cutting you off. I'm sure that I
No,
hope the
that's
viewers and
great.
listeners have these same
Because
questions.
like you're asking questions I wouldn't even think to answer.
So when you
frequently,
say
yes.
talking, what does that mean when you say talking? Like, are you talking out loud to yourself, but in the hopes that they're listening? Are they communicating back? Like, explain this talking to me.
So
'Cause they're
sometimes
physically not there.
So physically no, spiritually yes, they are there.
Okay.
So sometimes yes, it is out loud. Like I
Alright.
was at Synchronicities the other day, and I literally looked up at the roof, and I'm like, "What are you doing outside?" Like I was in the middle of a conversation with a different energy worker, and I literally just stopped, and I'm like, "What are you doing on the roof?" And she just kind of looked at me, and I'm like, "Oh, that's my guy that's up there. I don't know why he's on the roof." But so sometimes yes, it is physical.
Like a Batman.
Batman. Sometimes yes, it is physical. I do speak out
Okay.
loud to them. A lot of the times it's more through telepathy. I guess it's more through intuition.
So you're hearing things in your head?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or sometimes I just know things. So there's several different ways. I'm glad you bring this up. This is actually in my notes here. A couple different ways that spirits communicate with us. It could be through. I've actually sometimes there's been once or twice where I've actually audibly heard them, like with my ears.
Interesting.
Very rare does that happen. It's more through the intuition thing. But they can also, spirit guides can communicate to you through like symbols or signs. Or sometimes like they can create like a blockage. Like it's funny that this all, like we decided to talk about this because I actually had a conversation with our good friend, Shane, with Bear River Paranormal the other day. And one of the things that, and I've been through this myself. One of the things that he's kind of going through right now is he's trying to talk to his guides and he's trying to develop his gifts. Right?
Okay.
And he, like I said, I've been through this as well, and I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, but if he does, too bad. We're sharing it.
But we love you, Shane.
We love you, Shane. So sometimes you'll feel like a blockage, right? Kind of like
Like a mental blockage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you've hit a road, like you've hit a wall, right?
Yeah,
Where it's like when I first started developing my gifts, and I wanted so much because I wanted to kind of help Brandy out. I wanted to be able to see and hear spirits to kind of take some of that burden off of her.
Okay.
Because the team that we used to be on, they abused the hell out of her and her gifts.
Okay.
They didn't treat her like she was a person. They treated her like she was a paranormal tool. Which is part of the reason why we left that team. They didn't really show her the respect that she deserved. And with her gifts. So I was I wanted to be able to do what she can do. I wanted to be able to see and hear spirits.
Yes.
And I was getting frustrated. I felt like I was being blocked, like because I wasn't getting what I wanted.
Okay.
And I got to the point to where I was like, okay, I felt like my guides weren't talking to me. They weren't helping me the way I wanted them to. And then it's funny because I was so convinced that this is what I was supposed to be doing. I wasn't listening to what they were actually telling me. So they were actually talking to me, and that's where that blockage comes in.
Okay.
They were like, no, stop. Like they're putting up that stop sign. They're like, don't do this. This is not what you're supposed to be doing.
Got it.
And when I kind of started, and I had a lot of help from Caden, and we'll talk a little bit about him
Yep.
and your experience here in a minute. I had a lot of help from Brandy, learning patience with my guides. And in turn, it made me a more patient person just in my life in general.
Got it.
But once I started kind of holding back and kind of letting them take charge of things, that's when I started realizing, like, okay, I can do energy work. That's when I started realizing, like, energy healing is more where I'm supposed to go.
Okay.
And then when I kind of let go of that I wanted, I'm like, this is what I want. When I finally let go of it and I started focusing on what they wanted, the direction that I was supposed to be going, that's when I started opening up other things.
Okay.
And I started learning other things that I can do. And so I started progressing more when I started listening to them, and that blockage went away.
Got it. Okay. Now, who are your spirit guides? Like, what's the history of your spirit guides?
So, like I said, Rose has been with me my entire time. And the funny
I think
thing
you've
is,
mentioned her, right? She's a relative on your dad's side. Is that right?
I believe so.
Okay,
And I think
okay.
my dad can actually trace her back through genealogy. I just haven't done it yet.
Oh, okay.
Because I have spoken to him. My dad taught genealogy for like 30 some odd years in the church.
Oh, wow.
In our ward growing up. And I've asked him, and there actually is a Rose somewhere in our family line.
it.
So that's how I know it's on my dad's side, because there is actually a Rose somewhere in the family line.
Okay. Okay.
The funny thing is, when I got her name, is like there was one night, and this is another thing the video I sent you guys, where the guy talks about three truths that no one really talks about. So, and I can speak to this last one. So the first one is guides can be different souls, but they can also, his theory was, and I kind of agree with this, is that your spirit guides could just be alternate versions of yourself in like different realities. One of your main spirit guides could also be just you connecting to your higher self, because your higher self, your subconscious self, has lived all these other past lives. For most people, I know some people, it's weird to think that, here we are in 2021, and I actually know people that are literally on their first life.
Okay.
But I know most of the people I kind of associate with have, like I'm on the third one that I know of. I think you're on your fifth, Ghosty.
I lived a lot.
You're on.
I probably lived 5 lifetimes this life.
Probably.
And you still learn nothing from this.
So you'd think
But,
so, but no.
Yes. I don't know. Oh, so it could just be your higher self that you're communicating with, or different versions of yourself in different realities. But yeah, so when you sleep, you're so open to receiving or downloading information from your guides, right? And this is actually how I found out the name of my main spirit guide. There was one night I was going to bed, and I just kind of put the intent out there. I said, I want to know the name of my main spirit guide. And I went to bed, and I woke up, and I completely forgot that I had asked that question. I forgot that I put that intention out there.
Okay.
But I woke up that next morning, and the name Rose was in my head, and I'm like, why is this in my head? I don't understand this. And it wasn't until like 2 years later when I finally got the answer that it's your main spirit guide. And it was funny because I had asked actually Brandy Ding if she knew anything, if that name meant anything to her. And for like 2 years, she's like, no. And then when I was finally ready to start communicating with her, that's when it was kind of revealed to me that that's who Rose was.
Okay.
My main spirit guide. So the other one that I talked to, I don't know his name. He won't tell me. Brandy knows, Ding. Brandy knows his name. He's told her. The only information, I talked to him quite a bit too. This is when I was just telling you, I asked him why he was on the roof.
Yes, okay.
So this guy actually came with a Mookite skull that I bought at a gem show.
Okay.
And the funny thing is like...
Is it a stone, Mookite?
Yeah, Mookite is a type of jasper
Okay.
that's used for energy work, actually.
Oh, there you go.
And the funny thing is when I bought the stone, I knew that there was a spirit attached to it. I didn't tell the person that I was buying it from, because I knew this attachment, this was for me. So when I bought this stone, this spirit that was actually attached to the stone then became one of my main spirit guides. I call him the Mookite Warrior.
Yeah,
because he came with
that's
Mookite.
pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
He's actually energy healer from the 1400s from India.
Oh.
And I've had this confirmed with a couple different mediums. So this guy actually, I'll say it right. He's so he wants me to let people know that he does the energy work and I assist him. He's very adamant about that. I actually I was telling somebody once I was doing energy work with him, and I'm like, I'm going to do the energy work and he's going to help me. And I literally like kind of heard it in my head, like, no, it's the other way around. And as I'm hearing this, Brandy's sitting there laughing because she actually physically heard him say that. And so we both heard it just in different ways.
Okay.
And I'm like, I corrected myself and I'm like, okay, no, he's going to do the energy work. I'm going to assist him. So when I'm doing energy work, I work very closely with this spirit guide.
Okay.
And he does the majority of it, or he's the one that's guiding me and directing me on what to do. And I picked this. I literally picked this guy up when I was first getting into energy healing.
Okay.
So those are the two that I talk to. The other three, I know that they're there. I don't really know their roles, and I don't really talk to them, but I know that they're there helping out.
Got it. And have you tried? Do you communicate with those very much, or just the
Just
two
the two.
mostly? Okay.
I'm sure I could communicate with the other three. Like I said, the one's more of an observer. I don't know if or when I'll ever communicate with that one. I don't even know if it's male or female. I just know that they're there. I think they're just waiting for the right time to step forward and be like, okay, here I am.
Interesting.
I know they're there, though.
Okay.
The other two I actually got with crystals as well. And I think they help me more when I'm out on investigations.
Interesting. So were you born mostly then with just one, and then others have kind of attached to you throughout?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay.
I'm sure I've had others that have come and gone throughout my life, but as of right now, those are the 5 that I have.
Interesting.
And I feel it's kind of that way for everybody. Like you're going to have your one that you're born with. It's like I said, it's predetermined. Like Rose and I, obviously, at some point in time, had a conversation, and kind of like you said with your Greek god, you guys had that conversation, and he's like, okay, you go down, I'm going to be your guide, right? And that's kind of how I feel. I did the same thing with Rose, and I feel like that's kind of how it is with everybody. Like at some point in time, it's been determined between the two of you, like this is how things are going to be. I'm going to help you out while you're on the earth plane, and I'm going to stay in the spiritual plane.
And can you feel all of them, or just
the
like
two?
if they're just the two, and you don't know when the other ones are coming in and go, but you can feel when the other two are coming and going? So
Yeah,
right now,
the 5th one, I know he's there. They're there, he or she. I know that they're there somewhere. I've never really felt their energy, so it's hard for me to pinpoint them. The other two, I think I only ever feel them when we're on investigations.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting.
So my guides kind of, they come and go, and they're there when I need them.
Okay.
That's the whole point of a guide, but they don't stick with me 24/7.
Got it. How about for you, Ghost? Do you feel like do you feel when they're around you
Not at all.
Oh, you don't feel them at all?
No. Just when you go, that's my dude.
So you just feel that when that happens?
Yeah, that's it. But I have been told by on multiple readings that I have more than just those spirit guides. That I have multiple that hop in and out and assist them if there's, I guess, a lot of shit going down. But
What do you mean? You assist them?
No, they have more assistance from other spirits.
Oh.
So on top of the spirit guides that I have, there's more that I have that hop in and jump in and help them out. And but yeah, I've been told that you have multiple lines of defense.
Interesting.
See, and I kind of have a similar situation going. So I've got those spirit guides. So I've got my guides, and then I've got what I call my team. And it's more of like my family's team. It's kind of like a protective like army of spirits, if that makes sense, that kind of watches over my family or whoever I feel that they could help out. So it's funny. I was actually talking to a friend of mine, and they've actually felt or seen this team kind of watching over their building.
So it sounds like you guys are talking like a spiritual battle's happening. Like what does this mean? Like what are they defending you against? What's going on that this battle's about to take place with orcs or what?
So back to the Shire, but
They're keeping us safe from Saruman.
Okay, all right, that makes sense then.
well,
Because he did
more
take over
just-
the Shire at the end.
I guess it's negative influences.
Okay.
Things trying to get you to do things you probably shouldn't, and I guess trying to persuade you away from, hey, don't do dumb shit,
Okay.
So I guess some things like in that sense, to kind of help you make the right decision in some aspects of whatever's going on in your life.
Okay.
In like if you're going through a stressful time in your life where there's just a lot of shit going on, and some people can lead to depression, if they're not mentally strong enough to handle what's coming at them in life too. So
Okay.
sometimes they can kind of help guide you out of that.
I see. All right. So,
I
so
actually
different
kind of had an
things.
experience like that this morning, actually.
Okay.
I think it's funny because Ghosty here showed me this store in Sandy called Synchronicities, and I think
No,
that's
you
like,
can't get out of it.
No, I can't get. I'm there all the time. I've become part of the family, I guess.
Okay.
I don't even know who the hell I am. I've only been there twice.
I was down there this morning, and they let me borrow one of their classrooms or the many rooms they have that they kind of rent out to people to do energy work.
Okay.
But they're like, the owner's like, when's the last time you meditated? And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't done it in a while. Like, I tried to this morning and I couldn't get it to work.
Uh-huh.
And so she's like, just go use this room, go use the room, set your timer, go do your meditation. And it was like night and day difference trying to do it at home between doing it there, which is like a kind of safe space, I guess.
Yeah.
And I was actually able to reconnect with some of my guys and get some information on something I'm supposed to be doing in my life.
What can you share that?
Yes. So I'm going to, as long as I'm not lazy and actually follow through with this, I'm supposed to, from what I got from the meditation session, is I'm supposed to come up with kind of like a script, so to speak,
Okay.
and start helping people doing guided meditations.
Okay.
That's something I never have put any thought into whatsoever. But during this meditation session today, it was just like guided meditation.
Okay.
So, I mean, it could mean that I'm supposed to like get somebody else to do it, but I kind of feel like it's something that I'm supposed to start doing is kind of walking through people and help them. Like people, I know it's funny because I actually had someone tell me that they try to meditate and they have a hard time with it. And then I get this coming through today, like guided meditation. So I believe that that's something I'm supposed to start doing is start helping people doing this guided meditation and help them walk through the meditation process.
Okay.
And help them connect to their spirit guides.
Now, you guys are talking, having this army, having this defense. What is, I'm trying to think how I should phrase this. Is this good versus evil, heaven versus hell, God versus the devil? Is that the same type of concepts?
No.
Similar concepts?
No, that's just a lot of religion influence.
Well, good versus evil is not a religious thing. That's just common things, right? Good versus
I've
evil.
noticed my team more when we're on like an investigation, dealing with more negative entities.
Okay.
That's when I notice my team's kind of around. It's more of like, hey, we're here to back you up if you need it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. Makes sense to me.
They're more there to like kind of, if shit starts going crazy, to kind of step in and like, all right, you're done or whatever.
Okay.
But I don't know how much influence they actually have.
I don't really think the spirit guides have any influence on like earthbound spirits that are like haunting places when we're investigating. I don't think spirit guides can interact with those spirits.
I think it's more just kind of like, we're going to keep an eye out and, let you know if something's coming at you.
Okay.
Like, it's time to go. Or
So when you say that makes you think there's layers to this?
I think so, yeah.
Right, because again, this is just purely opinion, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get opinions. What do you think? Are there layers to this?
I would say, yeah.
Okay.
I'd say there's layers to
Because
everything.
these guides are not really talking to maybe like earthbound spirits, is what you're saying. So
Right.
they're like
They're
different.
bound to you. They're bound to you, and it's more of like a personal thing. Like when I think of Brandy's grandmother, who's her spirit guide, I think of that as more of a different kind of a spirit guide.
She's actually still earthbound.
Yeah,
So she
it's
can kind of interact with other earthbound spirits.
Yes,
But
because
when you
that's
have-
not like a spirit guide where it's like almost like it's a mental connection type of place where that spirit guide is.
Okay.
Because they're only tied to you, and but yeah.
But yeah.
So when you have like an angelic spirit guide, for example, like someone that's crossed over,
yes,
they cannot interfere as much, or if at all, like an earthbound spirit guide would. Does that make sense? Because once you've crossed that plane, there's a whole new set of rules that you have to follow. So this is why Brandy's grandma has stayed earthbound instead of crossing over, is because there's certain things that she can do and say that she wouldn't be able to do if she was angelic.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
There's a whole whole different set of rules that they have to follow.
Now I want to know who makes these rules.
I don't know if it's more of that there's rules they have to
Wait, that's
follow.
just the best way you're
It's
trying to
just
explain
like,
it. No, I get it.
There's just the way things are.
Yeah.
And in my personal opinion, I think like when the spirits that are crossed over, not the earthbound ones that are considered ghosts, but the ones that have crossed over aren't just here all the time. It's just sporadic moments that they arrive and then they're gone.
Where are they going? And we probably don't know the answer, right?
Like the spirit realm or the spirit world.
Are they helping other people? It's
Well,
like maybe
they have like other family members. Yeah, you have multiple family members.
So like maybe
Especially
you're,
with like an ancestral spirit guide.
right, might be also
entirely
helping me.
possible.
Like
Yeah.
whoever's helping Ghosty might also be helping me since we're brothers.
Right.
Yeah,
And they're
it's
like,
very
oh,
possible.
we're all family. Yeah, it's all possible. And again, we'll probably never know all the answers, right? But until we get to that plane ourselves, maybe then. But okay, yeah, I just find this fascinating, very fascinating. And I would like, so I mean, so I'm trying to book a time with people we've all just mentioned. So Caden's a really great friend of ours. He's a medium. I'm trying to connect with him after a Memorial Day. He said he'll have more time to get with me. He's going to do a spirit guide reading with me. I reached out to Tennille. Hopefully she gets back to me. And I know Brandy's thing is trying to turn off some of these abilities because it's just overwhelming her right now. But if she's open to it, I like to talk to her. She I like to get 3 readings. And I'm not trying to put them all against each other. Like, oh, well, this one said this and this one says. I'm just fascinated and curious.
Well, it's fun. I've done the same thing where I've had different readings from different mediums.
Yeah.
And I love, like I said, I don't tell them anything.
right.
I let them do the reading and tell me.
Yes.
And I love it when I have different people that they don't even know I've talked to this other medium. They don't even know the other mediums I've talked to, and they give me the same information as the other medium.
Yeah.
That's what I love.
Yeah, that just shows you like how in sync maybe your spirit guides are with communicating with them, but also that they're all legit too because they're all seeing the same thing.
So what I want to do now is, like, I've had Caden on my previous podcast. What I would love to do when he's in town and if he's got time, and even if it's like, just the 2 of you and I'm not around or whatever, I would love to have Caden come be on the show and do that reading on the show if you're open for that.
Yeah, I'd love to. I was thinking of recording it anyway, just to have it.
I mean, you can just record it. We
channel.
can throw it up on the Bucco Boys podcast. It could be an episode of this podcast as well.
No, we can just do it right here. Yeah,
we do it on however you want. But I think it would be fun. Like I've had readings done for me on air before.
Okay.
And I think it would be fun to have that done for this podcast.
Yeah, we do like a little bonus episode with it or something.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Do it.
All right, Beaker. Sorry, I'm interrupting you guys so much because I'm just fascinated with questions. What else do you have on this topic that you want to discuss?
I think this kind of sums it up.
Okay.
I don't know that I have much else. I mean, just know that if you're not alone. Like everyone has guides.
Yeah, because
whether or not you believe they're there. In my opinion,
right?
They're there. That gut feeling you get sometimes when you like, say you're walking down the street and you get that feeling like maybe I should go this way home instead of this way. Sometimes, like that could be your guides just be like directing you.
Yeah,
I've been told that they can leave you. That
this person does not pay attention. I am out of here.
Yeah,
this person is so frustrating.
I've been told, like if you like junkies when they start going down the path of addiction,
and they're trying to stop them,
and they just don't. Yeah, and they just keep going. And that person, that junkie, is more like on autopilot. They're not even themselves anymore. Like
the addiction
their
has
own
got a
soul has even left. Like not only has their spirit guides left, but even they've even checked out.
Okay.
And now they're just like a shell on autopilot that just fueled on drugs.
Yeah, just getting the next hit.
So
Yeah.
it's
And it takes time if you decide to come back and decide to like reform back to your old self, then things will start coming back to you.
Interesting.
It's kind of like we talked about at the beginning of the last episode when we talked about like being inebriated on investigation.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Being under the influence of some sort of drug. I talked about how I had that beer before an investigation. I couldn't feel anything. Like that includes my spirit guides, and it was very uncomfortable.
Interesting.
Because if you're altering your state of mind, you're making it difficult for them to communicate with you, and at that point they're going to be like, "Why even try?" Okay. So that totally makes sense. Like I do believe that, yeah, if you're totally going off the beaten path, you're going down the wrong direction. Your guides are just going to be like, "Well, get your shit together. We can't help you until you do."
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. That does make sense.
Because it makes it harder for you to hear what they're having to say,
right?
If you're just not mentally there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, that was the last little bit of knowledge to drop on you.
You got to be there, listening to them.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
Best way to, like I said, one of the best ways to talk to them or get information from them is when you're sleeping. So before you go to bed, put that intent out there. Put that question out there that you're wanting to know, and there's a good chance that when you wake up, you'll have that answer.
So I can think of two things that still stick with me, and there's probably been more, but these two situations stick with me, and I don't know, right? I don't know where these came from, but it was a time when I was just being the big brother, picking on my little brother, Ghosty over here, and I don't remember what I did or said, but I remember maybe something like, "You're so stupid." I don't know, right? And Ghosty walks into we were in the kitchen of our parents' house. He walks into the living room. I'm still in the kitchen, and I hear a voice in my head. And I can't remember the exact words verbatim, but it was something like, "Go apologize," or "Be nice," or something like that. And I was like, kind of ignored it, and I think I was like looking for some food or something in the cupboard. And then I just kept thinking about that voice. I'm like, where'd that voice come from? And you think of things like that, like, was that the Holy Ghost? Was that a ghost? What was it? Was that my conscious? What was that? And I remember I just came back in and apologized. You probably don't even remember that.
Nope.
But I wouldn't expect you to, because we were little. But you might have found it out of the ordinary for me to apologize for being mean to you, because I was just mean as a big brother. But and then another time, I was going to a mall here, Fashion Place Mall here, and I remember I was walking out of the car. Or I parked and I was getting to get out of the car, and I heard a voice, or not a voice. I'm sorry, I take that back. It wasn't a voice, but I had a feeling come over me. I was like, you know what? There hasn't been like a shooting in a while. Maybe I should take my gun with me into the mall. And I can't remember if I did or did not take the gun in with me in the mall. Went to the mall, did a couple things, left. Later that day, there was a shooting at the mall.
Was this the one that was like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
So a funny thing with that same story is I was actually on my way to that mall when it occurred.
Okay.
Normally I go there and I meet Brandy. Just comes down. Ding. Normally she'll just come down and meet me there.
Uh-huh.
But because she lives fairly close.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, I decided to just go to her house first. And then go down to the mall together. And the funny thing is like, had I gone in when I was driving by, if I had gone in, I would have actually been going in that entrance. I would have been there at the time of the shooting, had I not, for whatever reason, decided to just go to her house instead.
I also went in that same entrance that the shooting happened outside of. I went in that same entrance.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And a couple hours later, after that thought comes to my head, 2 hours, I don't know how many, a few hours later, that's when it happened. Yeah. So those two things have stuck out to me, that things have happened like that. But, where those come from, I don't know. Is it a spirit guide? I don't know.
Maybe.
Interesting. Yeah.
Well, guys, was that an episode?
I think it was.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody.
If you've got some exciting experiences of your spirit guides you want to share with us, hit us up, avp.pod on the social medias, Instagram, Facebook. We don't do Twitter because, it's Twitter. Or email us, evp.pod@gmail.com.
Ghosty, don't play that.
Peace out, butterflies. And the creepy smile.
This is the EVP Podcast.